All right, let's get this started. So let's minimize that here. And let's go into construct here. You know what? I'm just gonna make sure that we promote that here. All right, perfect. So we have 56 hours to go with the we have 56 hours to go here with the Kickstarter here. So please pledge for this, the Fortnite Kickstarter. This is going to be one of the best courses we've ever produced. There are limited rewards, and it's the best time to get into Mammoth Interactive courses. So please go, please check it out. All right. So we're just going to wait a bit so that we can make sure that everybody's in here. Sometimes the stream doesn't necessarily go the way we want it to. All right. So perfect. Just making sure everybody gets in here. Okay, we got a few people going on. Yeah, so today, if you saw our Twitter, we're doing something a little bit differently today, which I hope you guys are going to be interested in. All right. So we're going to wait just a bit here. Yeah. So a couple things from last week. The power situation. Basically, I found out now, and of course the hard way, that you do have to plug in your USB-C to the right USB-C power source. There is a difference. All right. And so now that I've got that all figured out, which is awesome. So excellent. So again, pledge for this today. The last game that we made is going to get uploaded to the App Store fairly soon. The only problem was the controls weren't as good as I'd like them to be on mobile, and I'd have to kind of sit and think about why or why we should do things a specific way. But nevertheless, I am going to I am going to upload it and maybe add in a few more levels here and there, but that should be available for pre-order pretty soon. The next thing, I think we're just gonna wait. Let's see where we're at. Okay, I'm gonna wait one more minute and then I'm gonna start. And then I'm gonna tell you guys all about what we're doing today, because I'm pretty excited about this. So in my off time, if you don't know, off time is away from the stream. Of course, I'm running Mammoth Interactive, but I'm also doing a lot of prototyping with code, games, etc. I'm always reading about, kind of any kind of new news story. Specifically, I'm into economics at the moment, but there's always something that's interesting that I'm doing here. Anyway, so I was making this game that should be available for pre-order soon. A bigger game, although in the same kind of minimalist style that Pluvo and Remember Lights Out are. It's the same kind of style, but just bigger. It's kind of more like a Metroidvania game. But anyway, I found a really cool kind of life hack in there, right? And let's see. I do need Photoshop for this, so hopefully that doesn't completely break this. Okay, and there we go. Never show that again. Cancel that. All right. So I do need Photoshop for this, and you can see some of the other things in there too. Let's just open this up for now. Okay. Actually, we're going to be using something similar to this here. So, all right, now we got Got a few more people in here. Okay, so today I'm going to take the plunge, and I'm going to try and make most of a game within one session here. Okay, so let's go ahead. Let's start a new project here. We'll call this. What should we call this? Never thought of that. I did not prep for that. So let's call this. I think I already have a Metroidvania. We'll call this Exploration YouTube game. All right. So what we are going to do is make it the retro style. Yeah, go ahead and push create here. And before I continue, you always have to remember that these live streams are not the same as the Mammoth Interactive courses. They are quite a bit different. We do a lot of editing with the Mammoth Interactive courses. This, I'm basically turning it on and I'm going here. So first of all, let's save this to the cloud here, and hopefully it works. All right, look at that. Andrea says hello. Hello, thanks for showing up to all of my live streams there. Okay. By the way, I like to put P01 at the end of this here. So, okay. So first things first is when we make a game from scratch, we have to make it work, and then we have to make it work on mobile. Because if you're making an HTML5 game, you got to do both. Okay. So first things first, we'll add the keyboard and the touch controls here. Okay. Let's add a player or a sprite. And this sprite we are going to make 8x8. So we're using the 8x8 aesthetic here. Oh, and by the way, before we continue, I should mention that I've been wanting to do this for so incredibly long. Making the levels in real time is awesome, but what's even better is making a full game here. So let's go ahead and let's add that in. Let's add in a tile map. Okay, tile map. And there's a few things you need to understand about tile maps is that they are incredibly efficient. And we're just going to do, we'll do 8x8 for the moment. Okay, nothing too complicated. Just kind of add that in here. First things first, I'm going to make some layers here. We're going to call this the tile layer. Okay, we're going to call this the player layer. And should I make a space in there? I don't know. Let's go ahead and we'll call this the background. Super important here. All right. And then we might add in more layers as we go along. Basically, we're only going to have kind of one layout at the moment. Okay. That's probably good enough for now. Let's... player, we want to move to the player layer. Okay. I'm going to be saving everything. I'm going to be saving everything as much as we can here. And I'm going to give this little character some eyes. Yep, that's probably good enough for now. Again, I always like to do the minimalist aesthetic. And we can always change things up later. But the tile layer, go to the tile map. That's weird. Okay. It's not rendering there. Aha. All right, let's try this again. Oh man, it's going to be one of these situations. Okay, so let's just kind of... Yeah, okay. Couple things before we start here. Let's see. Well, this works, but the 320, that divides by 8. But the height, that doesn't divide by 8. Or does it? No. So let's do 23 times 8. It's 184. So all I'm doing here is I'm making sure that everything works out well. 184. So, and remember, I don't explain things as much in the live streams, just FYI. I have a whole course where I explain everything, so you can go do that below. Remember, this is just kind of like seeing an artist perform, you know, like a street artist, I guess, if you will. So, yeah, let's go ahead. Let's change that. 184 times 2. I could probably do that in my head, but nevertheless, let's just change that up here. Okay, so I think we're good to go. A couple other things is we are going to do scale inner. And let's just test that. You can see it's extremely small, right? And yeah, I think that's starting to work out the way we want it to. Actually, you know what? That's not what we're going to do. We are going to make this letterbox scale. Yeah, so yeah, that's much better. But to make things a little bit better, we will fill that in. Well, I'm just using an off black so that things look a little bit better. You can see that, you can clearly see everything. So, all right. Platform. Okay. And this one guy needs to be solid. Okay. That should be good. Well, that's weird. All right, I like that. Obviously, since we're so small, we're gonna have to divide these by 2, mostly. I don't think I need to change the gravity though. Yeah, that's probably good. Okay, perfect. Of course, everything's good at Mammoth Interactive. Again, definitely support the Kickstarter here. Okay. Default controls. Okay. Let's see. Let's double that up here. That's not what we want. I also kind of want to see how fast I can do this. Now, this game is going to be kind of like a Metroidvania game, and again, I'm going to try and do it. You know, again, basically make a minimalist version, and I actually learned a really cool technique. Really cool technique this week. So I'm going to share it with you. So look at that, we keep on getting more people. That's awesome. So one of the things about YouTube is you need a certain amount of hours to be. You need a certain amount of hours to qualify for monetization, and we are like 25% the way there. So the more you watch, the better this will become. I really want to do a lot of monetization features on YouTube, and if you're gonna call it right. Now, another thing about this particular way of doing things is there will be shortcuts that I take. Okay. And that's just, all right. Okay, perfect. Okay, awesome, that works. And when you make a game, especially like this, you will take some shortcuts. There's always a better way to do whatever it is you're going to do. You might not always have the time to do that. What is it? It is appearance mirrored. Okay. I've been using Construct 2 so long that... Yeah, okay, that looks good. Yeah, the gravity's too much. Let's try that. You don't want it to be too much. Yeah. Yeah, that's probably good. I like that. Okay, so let's do a couple more things. Okay, so that's probably it. So we're just testing everything out here. Now this is the way you want to make a game, is you want to test everything out first, and then you so you want to test everything out first, and then you actually make your game. So basically this is going to be just a simple running game. And it's a Metroidvania game. Again, it's minimalist, so you aren't going to shoot in this. It's you basically just find a bunch of things, and we'll talk about that as soon as we add more level design here. But let's see, do we have a snap to grid? Let's do that. You can also show the grid, snap to grid. That's probably better. Then don't worry about going off the screen. That's going to be taken care of later. But oh yeah, we're not done player controls, not yet at all. And then probably could have done this before. Copied and pasted before I copied and pasted, but oh well, it doesn't matter. So you basically want oh, and by the way, these controls are probably pretty standard. So you want to be able to move left, right with the keypad. The jump's not working. Why not? Oh, that's right. I need to make it an OR block. Well, that's weird. Okay, there we go. Odd. Yes. Let's see. Left, right, up. Left, right, up. That's pretty much all you need to do. I guess if you really wanted to, you could have, like, you know, another button like K or Z to jump. Yeah, might as well do that. We'll make it L or Z. Tell me in the comments if you say it's Z or Z. Depends where you grow up, right? All right, perfect. Okay, so I think that's good. Okay, so basically we're gonna have to collect some keys here. Now, what we're trying to do is we're trying to make kind of like a minimalist type game, and that minimalist type game is gonna reference or kind of pay homage to the kind of like old Atari games. Okay, again, not exactly the same, but you know, similar, right? Okay, let's do this here. Let's make a key. So we can always erase things later. Yeah, that looks like a pretty good key. It's very standard. Play around with it a bit. Kind of like the way I had it before. Good question. You know, you always want to see if things work. Yeah, I'll probably make it like that. There we go. We'll call this key. Okay. Perfect. We're going to drag. We're going to have, let's see, I think maybe 8 keys. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. If we really wanted to, we could have different. Okay, so instance variable, we'll call this key number, and we'll make it 0 through 7. So since these are all the same ones, let's make this 0, and then 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. All right. 1, 2, 3. If you have any questions, let me know. And I'm just gonna try and make as much as I can, as fast as I can. I think I'll leave this here. So let's pick some different colors. So we got red. That's, you know, if we're gonna do this correctly, we'll do it the colors of the rainbow in that order. So R, O, is that too much? No, we can tell the difference between the two. R, O, Y, hey, look at that. Green is up next. Blue. Make it more like that. We might need to change these later to fit the color scheme. Blue. Yeah. Well, technically it's like an indigo. Whatever, I'll just make it a pink. And then violet is definitely that. And we need another one. So we pretty much have all of them. We don't have a white, or we don't have a black key, so we might as well just add in a black key. Ooh, that's kind of interesting. Cool. All right, so, you know, basically we're gonna change these. It's gonna be 0, 1, 1, 2. Now we could make like a ton of different keys. This is one of those things where there's no right way of doing it. In fact, it might have been better to just make a bunch of keys, but you know, if we do it this way, at least we only deal with one object. So yeah, key logic. Yep. Okay. Okay, so let's go back to key logic here. Let's see. A key on created. subcondition key. Compare instance variable. Or actually, you know what? I wonder if we can do this. So we should be able to do this one line of code. We might not be able to. Key animation set key set animation to key dot, oh, what is it called? Key number. Okay, I think this is gonna work. I hope it works. Yes, look at that. We got all the colors of the nice rainbow here. Okay, perfect. I like that. Let's go back here. Now, I haven't been doing this in my games, but I might as well start right now. We'll call this item layer. Yeah, so normally I just put everything on the player layer, then yeah, we might as well put this on the item layer. Makes sense. Let's go key. Yes, key layer. Move to layer, and the layer will be the item layer. Okay, well, we'll do that anyway, but you know, it's possible that that doesn't happen, right? You know, sometimes if you put those checks in your games, then you know, if you let's put it this way. If you're working at a bigger company, you might have to do that anyway with your games. So just keep that in mind here. So cool. Okay, we're getting there, and I shouldn't really be testing it because there's nothing really doing here. But anyway, let's add in a global variables here. We'll call this global variables. And this is something that I've been doing recently, actually, is putting all my global variables in one event sheet. That is personally something that I like to do. So global variables, they're all there. And global variables, let's call this total keys. And lately I've been kind of putting my global variables like this. Now, global variable, depending on the platform, will have different, well, I mean, there's different scopes with different global variables. Like if you make an iPhone app, when you just pull up your standard Swift file, you're not actually making a global variable. Global variables have something incredibly different. Okay, so let's see here. Global variables, yes. All right, so what do we want to do here? So we're going to go to key, and we're going to do on, now we'll say overlapping another object. It's the key. We're going to go to key destroy, system add to one to total keys. Okay, perfect. Yeah, so there we go, and then boom, we win the game. Ha! That was easy, right? No. So this is how we test everything. You test everything out on one screen, and then you kind of build out your game from there. Most of what is going to be an issue with this particular game is the actual building of the levels, just like a lot of these here. In fact, I'll probably do some one-screen games, just figuring out how much easier it is. And I think that's actually mostly it. The only other thing we have to do is, I think, yeah, it's two other things we have got to do. I was plan this out. I'm always kind of working here. So the width is 8, the height's going to be 2. And yeah, I was going to make this like a whitish color. You know, we'll make them gray for now. We'll call this jump through. Okay. Pretty simple stuff. Yeah, we'll just kind of test that out here and jump through. Perfect. Well, I think that's, surprised I actually can call it that. Yeah, so I can jump through that, right? Yeah, okay. That's still like a really high jump. It's moving really fast. You know what? Let's say 80. Jump strength 150. That's probably better what we want. Yeah, can't do anything. Yeah, okay, that's obviously not good. Let's try it again. Weird. Yeah, so let's say this is 100 and this is maybe 250. Yeah, that's kind of more where we're with it here. Okay. Not quite there. Let's make that 300. Yeah, okay. I think that's a lot more like it. You don't want your character to move too fast. Because the character moves too fast, it's like kind of... someone says they don't like Fortnite. Fair enough. To each their own. However, our Kickstarter is going to have a lot of multiplayer in it. So I'm pretty happy about that. All right. So, okay. So jump through. There's no enemies in this game. It's completely exploration. What did I want to do? So there's... The only other thing is like the spikes. So let's add that in here. So I might even add some more here, but let's 8x8 and red. Nice red color. Okay. There we go. Okay, so let's see if I can do this. I'll just draw the spikes. By the way, the 8x8 aesthetic is really awesome. If you haven't tried to use it, I would recommend that you do. It's really, really good. You never know what this looks like, right? Perfect. Okay. Do those look like good enough spikes? No. They do not, and I should have known better. What you got to do is this. So let's do that again. In fact, I'm just going to start all over. While it may sound... Well, you may not like it, but starting over is the best thing you can do. Okay, so let's try that. Now what's interesting is that it should just update, and that looks more like it. But we can go one step further, and what are we gonna do actually? Okay, so one step further. So the first one's good, but it's kind of looking like it goes one way. You want this to look a little bit more, I want to say disheveled, but that's probably not the right word. In this case, something like that. And let's see how that looks. Yeah, so that looks a lot better. I like the ones I did in Pluvo, by the way. That whole thing looks good. So, yes. Just two more things. And really, I'm trying to do this, as quickly as possible. So, I'm actually going to do this. Just bring this down. Now let's say 4. And, no, that's right. Let's say 7. And this guy here is going to be 7 as well. Okay. Save that. Always save everything. So the only other thing is we need kind of like... Actually, there's a couple things now that I think about it. Okay, we're going to make this just a bright pink. We're going to call this... It's huge. Doesn't really matter what the size is. You'll see why in a moment. But we'll call this death. because that's exactly what it's going to do. And this is where things might get a little hazy. Oh, look at that. It actually does work. But you never know. We have to move it in a specific way. The opacity we'll say as 30 for now. And basically what this is going to do is it's going to set us to a specific, well, it's basically going to trigger death here, but we need a sprite again. We need some kind of switch. And we'll make that, of course, 8. Well, you know, we could probably make this bigger. Now, again, remember how I said, like, not too long ago that, you know, this is kind of paying homage to Atari? One thing that we do get to do that's really awesome is we get to play around with, well, basically kind of, we get to play around with a lot more freedom than the developers of the past had, and that's kind of what you want to do. So let's see, is that in the middle? The problem with evens here is we need to make a switch. That's what we're going to do here. So let's just toggle that for a moment. So switch, well, let's see. That's too much. You know, we can actually why reinvent the wheel? Seems like a glitch. Oh, by the way, a new stable version I think was released today. There we go. There we go. That's pretty much all I want to do. To switch like that. You know, I think these have actually been done before. I think they're from Super Mario Brothers 3, like right at the end of the ship. Oh well. Nevertheless, there we go. Switch, and we'll call this. We'll call this not hit. And oh boy, hit. And all I'm going to do is I'm literally just going to move that down here. That's all we're going to do. And we're going to do that. You know what I might as well do? I will change the color of that bar for the hit there, so we know that. I'll just give it a little bit here. So okay, we're gonna give these oh yeah, because it's 12. Let's make that 16 just so it's easier. Hey, that works out. I didn't expect that to work out. Okay, let's change the background color. And I think one of these is not transparent. All right. Perfect. Obviously that color can't be that. Something as simple as taking the saturation down. Where is the RGB? No, we want HSB saturation. Brightness, saturation, something like that. Yeah, we might change it later, but for now, there we go. Okay. So, let's take a look here. Now I'm going to make it 2 files, def logic, and then we're going to make it checkpoint logic. So add both of these here. Now I like to do it this way. So first things first, we need to do the checkpoint logic. Now how are we going to do this? Okay. Oh man, I hope I get this right. So first of all, let's go to our checkpoint here. Okay, first of all, we got to call this checkpoint. Okay, and we'll add variable. We'll say instance variable is active Boolean. Okay, so let's add 3 of them in there. 1, 2, 3. Okay, if player overlaps an object, that object is going to be checkpoint. We're going to checkpoint Boolean is active to true. Okay, so if checkpoint Boolean variable set, if is active is true, then we're going to checkpoint animation to hit. Okay, and then likewise, we're going to double that again. But we'll say that this is not hit. Okay, and we gotta invert this guy here. Perfect. Okay. So hit, hit, hit. Perfect. Okay. And then system for each checkpoint. So basically, let's see, how are we going to do this? Well, maybe we'll come back to that. Pick, not last created. Last. Okay. So basically, there's that def logic here. Not sure why my player is such a different color. Let's fix that first. We will come back to that. Right. No, there you go. I knew something was wrong as soon as I did that earlier, but oh well. Okay. We should probably get to the level design soon. And while I figure out this problem as we're doing it, that's like literally what my thing is going to do. So, okay, next step is we need to create the entire, okay, so most of that works. That's pretty much the entire game. Find the keys, etc. Okay, and maybe we'll give it under time limit too. Oh, that's not a bad idea. Something that you can pass in 10 minutes. Very one-sided, open-ended game. So let's move the keys off of the board for now. Okay, one side open-ended game, and then there's one other thing I want to do first. Just do a debug layout just to see if the keys are indeed being hit. Key. Total keys 2, 3, 4, 6, and 7. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, so one of these didn't get set. I think it's this guy. 6. Let's see. 3, 4, 5. Yeah, the pink one didn't get set. Now I haven't actually picked a color. Okay, Perfect. That works well for me. So the keys work, the jump throughs work. Maybe we'll add something more as the game goes along, but this is generally the way you want to do things first. Okay. So let's see. Yes. So what did I want to do with this? Okay. So the viewport itself is 320. So it's time to do some math. And nothing's better to do math with. And we'll make it 8. So it's 256. Oh yeah, we haven't added in mobile controls yet. So actually, before we do that, let's add in the mobile controls. And that was the other layer that I was going to think of, is we'll call this mobile controls. Okay, and it doesn't really matter where this goes, but we're going to add in a sprite. And I mean, that sprite can literally be any color. I'll make it just the green color for now. But there's a couple things. We're going to kind of add it in like this. Just like that. And we'll call this button left. And we're going to duplicate that. And this is going to be button right. Okay, so button left and button right. Now, obviously, I'm going to make these 2 different colors. But we're also going to make the opacity down to 30 for now. Okay. 2 things we need to do is we need to anchor this. Anchor and this. We're going to anchor it as well. So 2 anchors. Then, this is kind of weird, but we have to set the parallax to 0. Otherwise, yeah. Okay. And by the way, so this is why we did the player controls here. So if touch object, where is it? Is touching object. It's going to be button left. We're going to, this is why we add in functions, is to move left. And if we do this to button right, and notice how I color coded that too. Okay, we're going to just simply move right. But what about jump, you say? Well, let's copy and paste this. Let's simply copy and paste that here. If you touch them both at the same time, then you jump. Okay, that should be it. Now I'm going to test this on my iPhone 10. Alright, so this is literally what I do. And it works. And I also have an iPad here. Alright, perfect. Hey, look at that. Almost there. Oh yeah. There's lots that I need to do. We need to make it switch. And there's another thing. Okay. What was I gonna do? Oh yeah. All right, one thing at a time. Go into the player. And we need to scroll to. Okay. Perfect. Now I just need to pull up a reference file for this next bit. I figured it out, but just need to pull that up here. I should have just taken a picture of it and put it on my iPad, but nevertheless, I'll do that next time. All right, sweet. And what is it called? Okay. Screen move logic. Oh, that's right. We don't need the screen move. So instead, we need to set up okay, cool. And again, this is just like, I'm just looking at the prototypes on my page here. That's all I'm doing. Because, I mean, I do a lot of stuff off memory, but sometimes you can't remember it. So, and we needed two global variables too. Call this camera Y, and we'll call this camera X. Okay, both numbers here, and we're going to say system every tick. We're going to set value of camera X to floor player.x divided by, and we're going to divide that by the width. Is the width? Yeah, it's the width. So in this case, it's 320. Okay, so I'm just going to literally copy and paste that, and we're going to go floor player.y divided by, and this is the case 184, the height. So that will create a grid of where you are. And we can make that grid as infinite as we want. Now, this next step is this is what I was talking about when it comes to doing things a good way or a perhaps better way. There's always a better way of doing this, but this one seemed to work out for me. Okay. So let's see. It is compare variable. If camera Y, we'll start with camera Y, is equal to 0, then we will set scroll. What is it? Scroll to. That's right. Scroll to, and then in this case, it'd be 184 divided by 2, so that's 92. Okay. All right, and then the question is, how big are we going to make this? So let's just test. Let's just test this here with a couple things first, and then we will maximize it. Okay. So 320 divided by 2 is obviously 160. Now, if I'm not mistaken, what we do is then we add 184 to this. So it's going to be 184 plus 92 is 276. Okay. And then we're going to add in 360 plus 160. Or no, wait. 320 plus 160, and that should be 40. That one's easy. Now what that's going to do is, let's test this layout here. And unlock that tile layer here. Let's quickly just kind of add in a level. Okay. And I'm going to change that up for a bit here. We're just going to do that for the moment. And Yeah, okay, so obviously that's not right. So we sort of got this right. So first things first is we need to... So... Where did I put that? Oh, I put it in the global variables. Okay, cutting and pasting. Wait, does that actually have to be control? Technical difficulties. Okay. Okay. Why can I not cut that out? Oh well. Edits. Cut. Alright. Well, that's weird. Okay, perfect. That's a lot better. Okay, so screen move logic. Now, it's too far down, so the Y is somehow messed up. Let's do 92 divided by 2. It's 46. Let's try that. So that's why we wanted to test it first. Okay, so I think that's still not where we're doing it. It said 0. Somehow I think that the scroll is messed up a bit. Shouldn't happen, but let's double test that. Okay, so obviously not. And welcome to game development, everybody. So that's obviously working. Let's do some debug layout here. And let's take a look at our variables here. Camera X, camera Y. Let's just test to see if that works. So it is working. So let's undo that. Ah, that's the problem. Because we gotta set the scroll X. So what were the numbers? Scroll. 160. All right, and then that's the problem. And then this one's gonna be 480. Okay, so let's do that here. All right. Okay, there we go. Look at that. That's the one, and then we move over. Perfect. Now, see how it's jumping from one place to another? This is exactly what we want. Perfect. Okay. That's exactly what we're looking for. All right. Wow. So all right, let's see what this goes here. All right, so 160, 480. Now I was gonna make this 8 by 8, so let's do that right now. And by the way, you should also note that the mobile controls move around too, right? So that's why we add that in there. Now, system on start of layouts, we will opacity to 0. And then if you had a lot of GUI elements, then what you would do is you would like they're still there. Oh, and by the way, let's do that. Player controls again. Condition system is on, but we only want these to be on mobile devices, so let's do that now. Yeah, okay, so perfect. Okay, there we go. Okay, not bad, not bad. I might have to get up and switch my power. I'm using a slightly lower power thing, so you can see that slowly go down. I think we'll have enough time though. Yeah, I just hit the hour mark, so that's good. Let's see. What else are we doing here? Okay. Screen move logic. Yeah, okay, let's set this up to 8 by 8. So in order to do that, we need to go to 32 times 8. It's 2,560. Okay, it's 2,560. 2,560. Okay. Then we're gonna need to go to 184 times 8. It's 1472. All right. That doesn't seem right at all. It only seems like it's about half. Okay. Here's where we go into Photoshop. Okay, so we're gonna make something very similar to this, but we're gonna say new, and it's gonna be exactly what we have here. It was 640 by 184 times 2. It's 368. 368. Now we're going to duplicate this, get rid of this, and we're going to add in a square of 320 by 184. All right, so there we go. We have our square. Then we're going to duplicate that. Duplicate that, and then we're going to add in another square. Same thing, but we'll change the color up. Now they don't have to be these colors. It can be any color you want, but I do like it this color, and you'll see why when I bring it into construct. Yeah, just like that. Pretty simple stuff. Okay, and might as well save it as 320 x 184 tile. Okay, and we need to save that into the downloads folder here. Yeah, okay, fair enough. Hop back into construct here. Let's add in a tiled background, and before I do that, we do need another layer here. I'm going to lock that here, and we're going to call this debug layer. We're going to move that up, I don't know, here. That's probably pretty good. Anyway, on the debug layer, we're going to add in the tile background, okay, and then we're going to open up this tile here, okay, and this tile background, you'll see. Now, well, that doesn't make any sense. All right, let's go back here. Image size, 640. Oh, okay. Yeah, that's it. What? missing here? The viewport's 328. Right. No, that is right. That is definitely right. All right, perfect. I was just getting confused there. So I'm just gonna uncheck this. Basically, what you're gonna see here is that for each level that you go through, it's going to have a different color. Okay. So we're going to come back to this later. But basically that's what that is. Let's go back into the tile map and set the opacity to 50. Not the tile layer here, but debug this thing, tile background. It seems like I created two. Just go ahead and delete that, called that. This one, the regular tiled background. All right. And okay, so, and we'll just lock this layer for now, and we'll go back to the tile map. We're going to erase a bunch of these things here. Actually, you know what? We're not going to do that because I found the best trick. This is what I found out this week. I think there's a YouTube channel called that. Today I learned stuff like that. Basically, I'm going to start my player off here. Well, maybe not there. Yeah, where should I start this off? You know what? If we made it 9, you wouldn't have this problem. Like, you could definitely put it somewhere. But anyway, nevertheless, we will start this player here. And what's interesting about this is that I'm going to show you an easy way to make levels. Now, this is technically 64 levels because it's 8 by 8. But I'm going to show you a really cool way of doing it. Okay? So, oh yeah, the tile map has to come out all this way too. Now it's important that you don't change the tile map position. All right, let's see. So the tile layer, we're going to start off with this. Basically start the player off with nothing so that, and then we also need to do the screen move logic too. So we have this 8. So 1, 2, 3. Edit. Copy. Paste. 4, 6, 8. So we have 0, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and we're doing zero-based counting here. Let's do the same thing for the X. One, 2, 3. So 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and of course 7. Okay, so what we're gonna do is it's 276 plus 184. So let's see, 276 times or plus 184. It's 460. 644. 828. 1002. 1012. 1196. One more. 1380. That sounds about right. Okay. Likewise, it's 4. You added 320 to that, right? So 480 plus 320 is 800. 11. What was that? 1120. 1440. 1760. 1760. 2080. 2400. I think I missed one. Or not. It's 27. Let's try that again. So it's 160. Yes. Look at that. Well, that's an easy fix. Lucky for me. Perfect. So what this should do now is it should just drop you off in a specific location, and then boom, 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 boom. And okay, so it is working. It does work. Okay, that's perfect. That is exactly what we're looking to do. All right, let's save it. There's something else here. All right. And then, of course, download it. You always want to do both. Okay. So, you're so close to being there. Perfect. Okay. So first things first is we're going to tailor the first kind of couple levels. And then after that, we're going to make this really easy. I'm basically just going to have to find all the keys, etc. All right. So let's do that. So by tailoring the first few levels, that's kind of what I mean. You know, we have to teach the player what to do. We'll kind of have a pit that they have to jump over. And yeah, let's see. All right. That's what I was going to do. One, 2, 3, and then 4. That doesn't look as good as I'd like it to, but nevertheless. You know what, if you make it simple though, And so you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to do this. That's all I'm going to do. Right. And this will teach you two things. It will teach you to, one, jump through. And I think there's not much else I need to teach the player. I think that's literally it. Where did the keys go? All right, the item layer. Find the 8 keys. Actually, so there's two things. First, let me kind of drag the key out here. We'll make 2 of them really easy to find. And then after that, it'll be difficult. Right. Okay, I think that's good. And set up a roof here so we don't confuse the player. Okay, that works for me. So might as well just add a roof here too, because the rest of this game is pretty enclosed. Can I get up the other way? I can barely do it. Okay, perfect. So you're gonna have the chance to go left or right. So we got a key. It's gonna play a sound, and we gotta make sure we can get over that gap. So first things first, we'll do that. Second thing, we'll do that. And then lastly, we'll do this. Perfect. All right. All right, now that's just sloppy design. Do it in 3. Okay. So basically, this way the player gets 2 keys right away. While we're here, what we'll do is drag the checkpoint out too. Just in case you die. So there we go. Perfect. Okay. So, here we go. The checkpoint logic is kind of tricky. I'll fully admit to that right now. Okay, so here is where, oh yeah, we do also want the player to wrap around, don't we? Let's add that in here. Wrap that around. And let's see here. Okay. So here's what we're gonna do. And here's why, like, this is where you kind of need to listen for a bit. A couple things we are going to do is we need to kind of expand this to 16 by 16, but that's not what we want to do. 16 by 16, and we're going to line top left. Okay, let's toggle that grid. And we're going to eyedropper here. And we're just going to add in a couple of static kind of items here. Basically, I need a bigger brush, and you might as well fill this up with something. And actually, while we're at it, let's expand this by 8 again, 24 by 24. Yeah, so we can add in some cool kind of extra tiles here. And again, I don't have to use these tiles. They're just kind of there if I need it. Yeah, don't like that as much. Don't like that as much either, but that kind of works, I suppose. Anyway, that's weird. See, that does not look good. Cool. Let's see, what else can we do? That works. Remember, once you kind of figure this out, you know, you can always do other ones like this too, so you never know. You might end up using some of these for some reason. All right, good enough. Oh wait, one more. Also, it gives you practice, right? Let's see. Start to make this a little bit abstract. Yeah, I know. Kind of like that. But, you know, like, watch this. Just because I added that in here, you know, I can just kind of test it and see what it looks like. You know, not too bad. Kind of add those things in there. Nevertheless, you know, I basically need a bigger I need something a little bit bigger for this. So that's why I'm here. So, let's see. Cool. So, keep on forgetting to get to this thing. So basically, here is what I learned. So instead of kind of, so when you think about it, if a sculptor kind of works with their hands, and then, you know, there's kind of things that are really meticulous, like you got to put things in a right specific order, kind of like setting dinner plates. You know, if you set dinner plates, and if you do that for like a function, things have to be like lined up, and that's not as good as, let's say, you know, someone working with their hands to build something. So I'm always looking into like the more organic ways of building levels. By the way, I love this green tea, and what's hilarious is that it's green, and the it's coming out on the green screen. So anyway, it's favorite green tea. I've got like literally a fridge full of it. Okay, so what this means is that you basically carve out, this is where I'm getting at, you carve out the levels like this. You see? Now, how easy is that? I think it's pretty simple. Okay, so you can kind of go and, you know, carve out the levels, and once this whole thing is done, we'll be able to kind of place the keys in interesting locations. Then we'll add in the hazards for the most part. I do think maybe there needs to be like one more hazard. And I think I have a good idea for that, yeah. Okay. Like that room's a little bit boring. But you can see how instantly this looks like a lot better. Okay. Now, it gives a certain aesthetic too. And the question is do you want that aesthetic or not? And I think it's a cool looking aesthetic. Okay. So the only thing that you need to be wary of is you need to give your player a bit more room than you would expect. Right? That's the only thing that you need to kind of understand with this. The other thing you also need to understand is if you do decide to go through a highly meticulous room, that you put a wall next to this because, you know, it makes sense. Well, here, I'll just show you. I'll just show you what's up here. So let's kind of add that in. And so, you know, if this wall wasn't here, I wouldn't be able to move over here. But this, you know, gets to everywhere you need to go. And look at that, you can kind of move out here. Although I'm kind of standing on nothing at this point. So we need to add that in here and at least add in the floor. All right. But it gets better than that because once you see, I'm purposely kind of taking my time with this. Maybe explaining it. But yeah, so I'm kind of liking these room colors here. Okay, there we go. So we got a floor. Okay, let's do this. All right. Ready, set, design. No, that's too cheesy, even for me. All right, so basically we're gonna do this. And before actually we do all that here, what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to do a remote preview on my iPhone. And all right, just to see if it's going to work. Okay. And then it's not laggy. Okay. It's not lagging, which is good. Now, I should also mention that this resolution is not very big. It looks big, but it's not very big. So you're not going to lose the war on optimization. All right, let's do this. Okay. And you can kind of see that, you know, kind of move up, move down, and they kind of look like ant tunnels, actually. Once this is all done, you will see that this looks kind of like ant tunnels. And we'll kind of move up here, and move up over here. You might as well kind of add in something here. And your whole point of this is to basically find the keys. We might as well have like a door at the end. But, and of course we have to like kind of test it all. I'm not sure if I'm going to do all the testing within this particular tutorial or this particular live stream. But, you know, with the only problem this way is that you might end up with a lot of dead ends. But nevertheless, let's see, we'll probably add in something else too. So yeah, we can have them join up here. Remember, you want to give the player more headspace than you would expect it them to want. Right, and then you kind of want that disheveled look. I don't think disheveled's the right word, but nah, pretty close anyway. This kind of patchy work, but anyway, you can kind of see that it looks like ant tunnels. So, and you want all of these places to kind of, you know, move around. And yeah, you know, just by looking at this and thinking about this, the player is going to need some kind of extra incentive. Like we might need to collect stars or something. But that is what we're looking to do. What's interesting is that, like, there's, you know, when you get up here, you'll be able to see if there's other places you can go. But, yeah, and then obviously these first 3 rooms are complete contrast. So you're going to have to find a way to deal with that as well. So from now, let's go ahead, let's add in basically the rest of the game here. And you can see this carving out technique is really, really efficient, right? So I'm going to undo that. Okay. Now the other question is, do you want this to be able to wrap up and down? And I think just right to left is more than enough. So yeah, let's just play it for a bit. Yeah, we're gonna need to do these levels here. But you can see that this kind of level design, you know, has its own advantages / disadvantages. But nevertheless, I think it's awesome. Yeah, so basically, you know, you're going to be exploring, and the question is, or do you want the player here, like this is a dead end, like the player can't get through, is do you want to have, okay, and so we can get that. Now luckily, okay, now I say, by the way, luckily, a lot of this works, but you know, it's possible that when you do this, it doesn't work out as well. Okay, so a couple things and areas to kind of look at here. We don't want this to be at anything like that at all. We're gonna just move that up here, and there's a couple other areas, but that for sure. And you want to give the player more room than they would expect. Areas like this are no good, just from that little test there. And yeah, I think this is going to be by far our largest live stream, so, or longest live stream. So I'm excited. Hopefully you guys are too. Yeah, this is going to need like a. That's gonna not be good. Yeah. Anyway, this way of kind of carving out is way more fun than building it. I can say that like right now. It's so much more fun. Now, what you can do, And what I've seen a lot of other people do that have this kind of level design is that they do take the time to make yet another kind of tile map with like grass on it or something. And I've seen that more often than you would expect. So it makes sense to do that, because then you get this kind of organic, because this looks like ant tunnels really. You get this kind of organic level design, but at the same time, you know, if you make it grass, it looks just that much better, right? And we'll do that. Okay. So yeah. And believe it or not, that does complement it fairly well. So yeah, we're gonna have to add in like another kind of incentive to this. So let's see. Nope. Perfect. And I'll add in the keys later. Anyway, I was just kind of messing around with this earlier, with another game that I was working on, and you know, I just kind of said, hey, what if I did this? And lo and behold, this was a lot better for me and for everybody else involved, meaning that the players, etc. So that kind of works here too. And like the other thing you could do is, if you really wanted to, you could say, make this look awesome, and you can send it off to a graphic designer to make like a level, and you can add that too, which I probably will do in another game. But you know what, actually I'm gonna make this kind of like a falling section. Yeah, it's like a climbable one here. And you're gonna have to go around here like this. Yeah, so there's a couple things, and I should probably write them down, and I will do that. Just write them down on my phone quickly. Okay. Let me write them down before I forget. One, actually, I'm going to add in 2 obstacles. Obstacles. And stars to collect. You have to collect all the keys and like all the stars. I think that's going to be perfect. So this section is going to be interesting because you're going to only be able to access it, like this one section, through this kind of climbing feature here. So that is really going to have to be tested. So like really have to be tested, and then we can have that here. So we'll do it, take out the ground. Perfect. Yeah, use that. So let's just see how much room I have. Perfect. Maybe, and the other thing you can do is you can have like these kind of open areas like that. There's nothing wrong with that as well. Perfect. We'll just kind of move that down here, and we'll move this guy down over here like that. That works. for here. And we can add in like 2 other kind of juts to kind of get in there. This over here like that. Let's make this bigger first of all. So basically, yeah, this is the way to do it, in my opinion. And you know, now that I have this template, no, we're gonna have to be able to get, oh, I did that all in one. You want to make it jagged, so maybe something like that. We might have to add in some extra items here, some jump throughs. But now that I have this template, and once it's kind of works, then I can probably do more of these, right? Which is the whole point of these live streams, is to just basically kind of show everyone how to make some really awesome games in a short amount of time, really. Yeah, okay. Let's kind of move that over here, and then move some up here. Let's do that as well. Sweet. Thanks again for watching, everybody. I do really appreciate it a lot, like you wouldn't believe. Yeah, so now exploration games used to be big. When did they used to be big? I don't know. I want to say early 2000s. Right. The early 2000s was really the time for exploration games. And it's not a bad idea. You know, obviously games like Breath of the Wild will take exploration to a whole new level. But, you know, this is kind of like a minimalist version of that game. Or that idea, at least. Maybe one of these days I'll make a complete Zelda clone. It's difficult, though. Now, the tricky part is we're going to have to connect these from side to side. And that is going to be tricky. Yeah. Oh, and the whole point of these is that there's multiple ways of going about this here. So, let's get rid of that right away before I forget, because you don't need that there. Okay, so okay. I think so. Okay, now, there we go. Okay, let's okay. Okay, let's get rid of these game objects here. I think it's literally all these that need to move away. Perfect. Okay, so we'll just do that. And of course we'll add in the keys there too. Alright, debug layer, tile layer. Yeah, we don't need the mobile controls yet. Let's go back to the tile layer. Yeah. before you get any funny ideas about adding in your own special art for a project like this, it would be really you'd have, well, actually for this project it wouldn't be so bad because you would still have to bring in 64 sprites, but if they were pixel art it wouldn't be so bad. It would be a problem if this was HD. You might have to do some work tying things together, but that's another issue. So nevertheless, we basically have to kind of wrap these around. Let's do a couple more things first before we go and do this here. Let's add in some more items there. All right. Yeah. So we'll do this first, and then we'll add in the stars. And yeah, we gotta fix those first few levels because they just completely, well, yeah, probably we'll have to do that, but let's fix this first too. Almost there. Here we go. Kind of add in these things to make sure you can actually climb up them. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I mean, that's gonna need some work. Nevertheless, all right, so we need to tie this over. Does it give you the coordinates? Oh, it does. Perfect. So we're looking at, all right, so it's 1372. Okay, so that's 1. Okay. 1165. All right, and it's 1165. Perfect. So 1, 2, 3. This is 948 and 756. So we got 948. And 756. Okay. So once these work, all right, so what's this one? This is 756. All right, now the next two are 598, 357. So we got 598 and 357. $357 here. That one's a lot bigger. I think that's the last one. And then we have 116. Okay, so now that that's out of the way, what we're gonna do is, let's see, did I want to, yeah, okay, so I know what I want to do. So first things first, I'm just going to draw some rough lines. So that's going to come up here like this. And then I want, and that's going to come up here. And then this guy is going to come down here like that. And then we might as well jut in to that like that. Okay, so I'm just going to draw the rough lines and I'll make it more playable in a second. This guy's going to come down here. And then we're going to move up here. This guy's going to come up here like that. And then this is going to move all the way up here, but meanwhile this is going to come down like that. And move that guy there, and then we'll move that up here. We'll have a big cavern here, and then this will go down like that. Biggish cavern there. Let's see, this is going to go up here. Make kind of a biggish opening. One down there. You don't want it to be too crowded. And then this guy is going to come up down here. No, it's too much. It's too much. Yeah. All right. Perfect. All right, now let's make this a little bit more playable. And yeah, I'm definitely not going to be doing the testing live because that's a lot. Nevertheless, I'm going to try and get most of this done. Yeah. That's a problem area. Okay, we're slowly getting better at this. All right. I actually really do like the idea of, that's probably have to come down more on this side. I really do like the idea of just getting an artist to make kind of sprites, and then that way you can tell a story, because the whole point of exploration is like there's a story that happens. So you could add that with the art, not just the gameplay, but you could do that with the art too, so they're kind of like feel like the players in a, well, playing some kind of game. Like there's so many setting options you can do, you know, like under the sea, for instance. All right. Okay, that's a kind of, that's a problem area. Yeah, that is a problem area. So let's fix that. That's let's redo this section here. Okay, so first things first is we're going to do this and move this guy up like that, and then we need to, there we go, that's gonna fix it right there. So boom, and like that. So okay, that works. make these bigger than we need it to be. All right. And this guy also needs to be bigger than we need it to be. All right, here we go. Yeah. Okay. So there you go. There's your mostly rough game-ish. So the next thing that we need to do is, well, kind of add in a few different items. Which I wrote down. But let's... You know what? Move this over here. And then I'm going to put a big kind of door. That's, you know, well, I'm just going to leave this big open room. And I'm going to do that 100% on purpose, except for I'm going to do a couple things. So let's hop back in the tile map. First room is going to be pretty basic. Second room, I am going to carve out. Okay. But the third room is also going to be weird and different. So that's what we want to do. We want to add these pits here like that. So this room here is going to be a little bit different like that. Okay, so that works. Kind of what we're looking to do like that. But of course adding the wall here so the player knows that there's a wall. Alright, let's run this and you'll see what I'm doing here. So we got that, got a key. Okay. Jump over the pit. And this is big room for no reason. And what's going to happen is that the player is going to come back there. Okay. The player is going to come back there. And let's actually see. Okay. Yeah, okay. Look at that. Now, did I flip over yet? I think I did. I did flip over. Okay, perfect. Can I actually get up here? Okay, perfect. So obviously this is all going to have to be tested. Yeah, like this part here. But yeah, that's pretty cool, right? So let's add in the keys. Because okay, first things first, we'll add in the keys into different areas. So we'll lock this guy and we'll add in a key, like obviously at the dead ends here. And we're going to have to add in the keys, and then we're going to add some more things like stars. But the key will be there. So with 8 keys, you might as well make it 8 and 8. 8 keys, 8 stars. We'll do kind of the same thing. In fact, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to copy the key. So we got something like key goes there, and we need to place the key to go one more spot. Right, so maybe we got the key to go here. Alright, perfect. Now, let me duplicate one of the keys. Move back to the item layer. Right, let's make these stars here. So 8 keys, 8 stars. Very self-explanatory. Okay. And how will we do this? So stars are actually pretty easy to make, but not like that. So all right, let's start again. Well, they don't necessarily have to be stars, they could just be simple diamonds like this. And I think that actually works out pretty well. Can we do that one more? No, I don't think we can, so let's move that over. And alright, there we go. So that is our star. Okay. We're going to eyedropper that. Then F for fill. Man, we have to do each one of these. That doesn't matter. This is where we get to the tedious part. Game development. But nevertheless, it's easy. You know, we could just do that and save a bunch of time, but oh well. Perhaps later. So, and you can see how this game is really starting to shape up. So, oh yeah, we're down to 20%. So I might, if that thing hits like 5%, I'm gonna just basically end the live stream there. And then okay. In retrospect, I wish I did something I could fill. But, oh well, live and learn, right? And the eyedropper here. And there's lots of stuff that we can do. Fill. Okay, so now that we have the star here, we're going to do that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then instead of key count, key number, we're going to say that this is star number. Okay. And where is it? Key logic. Copy and paste this. The place. Now this is the cool part. Key. All right. Go back. Almost. Almost did it. There we go. Yeah. And what we're going to do is we got to go back to our global variables, and we'll copy and paste total keys and call it total stars, just like that. All right. Perfect. Okay. You're like, did it change everything? It did. And then I'm going to change key logic to collectible logic. Makes sense. And after all of that work, we definitely need to save it. Download it to your hard drive. Because sometimes, no matter where you are, you save it and the program crashes. So, all right. Finish off my tea there. Okay. Okay. Interesting room. I have to make that a little more jagged. Yeah, and I'm not going to do that logic. Yeah. And kind of like the blue, the changing color of it. Very, very good. All right, so like that's gonna be something we have to fix. So there's a lot of stuff that needs to be fixed. Okay, so let's place the stars. These can go practically anywhere. But what we don't want to have is we don't want to have the dead ends. The only the number one reason why I want the stars to be there is to not have a dead end like this, and not have something at the end of it, because like, what's the point, right? What is the point? So like, there's another dead end there. We gotta put something there. If you don't put something there, then it's just not good enough. Okay, so like there's a dead end. Let's see, how many dead ends do we have? Okay, the one needs to go there, one needs to go there and there. Okay. If not, then we need to fill it up and not have it there at all. So that's kind of the whole point of this is okay. Oh boy. Sweet. And then I think that's the only one. Okay, there's dead end, so let's fill that up. Let's fill that up because we don't need it. I think that's it. There might be a dead end here and there, but okay. So, so now that we got that out of the way, so we have that. Now we need to put in some more obstacles. Okay. So, yeah, I'm going to be ending this rather soon. But let's go ahead. Let's add in some spikes. Alright, so we'll add in, first of all, we'll kind of pit. There we go, make a pit. Make a pit there. Before I forget. So you know what? It's an easier way to do this. Instead of going back and forth. Here, I'll show you. So we'll just kind of walk around here. Is to just do that. And then erase it later. Right. We have to put in some checkpoints. Alright, that'd be kind of cool. Jump over that. But this is going to have more clearance. Yeah, like much more clearance. But not too much. You can't have that here. Okay. Let's add some more of these pits. Like, this is the perfect spot for a pit. Right there too. Pits. Pits, but we need more clearance. Okay. All right. Let's go erase these things. I'm probably going to sign off pretty soon. Over 2 hours. So we'll have to get that to-do list done next week or next time, whatever that may be. Almost. Could probably go for a little bit longer, but mostly I'm just going to do this here. Alright, what else do we need? Alright. Oops. That also works. Okay. Might need to add in more stars. There's no reason why they can't be a different color here. But anyway, I'm going to go ahead and think about this here. So, thanks for listening. If you haven't pledged, please go pledge for this Kickstarter. All right? Thanks again, and I hope to see you next week. Same bat time, same bat channel.